Eric Evans back with John Eustace, and Mari Holden has turned around at the 20-kilometer point in first place.
Mari Holden at the previous Olympic trials in 1996 was in a similar position. She was leading at all the time checks, but she was being threatened by a certain Rebecca Twigg, one of the most famous bike riders of all time. Mari tried so hard to win that she collapsed at the end and was taken away to the hospital. So let's hope she has a little bit of a healthier finish today, but leading these Olympic trials.
Holden, the top-ranked racer in the United States, as we look at Elizabeth Emery in 5th place after 20 Ks. And it's interesting, John, that this is an out-and-back course. The riders must stay in the right lane to avoid hitting the people coming on their way back.
Out and back, a time trial is the pure form of bicycle racing. No place to run, no place to hide, just what you can do against the watch. Now that hump you see on Elizabeth Emery's back is not a deformation. That is a aerodynamic combination of water as well. It's a water feeding system. As we go back to Didi Demet-Berry, look at the effort on her face, Eric. There's no harder thing that you can do in cycling than a flat-out time trial.
And because it is so hard, she's focusing on the road ahead of her, oblivious really to the natural beauty that is the Natchez Trace Parkway through which they're racing. The Natchez Trace isn't just a beautiful stretch of road that runs 443 miles from Nashville, Tennessee to Natchez, Mississippi. It's also the longest, skinniest national park in the country. The national park was created to honor this one-time Indian trace that later became one of the early roadways in this region. The national park was created in 1934 and affords motorists one of the most scenic and pastoral rides anywhere in the country. The parkway is maintained by the National Park Service, and no commercial or truck traffic is allowed. The Natchez Trace has been a big part of the Trustmark Tour LeFleur for years, and in the past has hosted a century ride. This is definitely a perfect venue for this year's time trial national championships. With its silky smooth road surface, flat roadway, and long straightaways, it's also a real tribute to the beauty and history of Mississippi and the adjoining Southeast region. Truly a beautiful place as Holden makes her way back on the back leg here of this 40-kilometer course. And John, Mari has returned to the United States after racing in Europe for several seasons.
She spent 3 years on some of the best teams in the world in Italy and Germany and in Italy. And Mari is back in the United States, sleeping in her own bed at home, focusing on one thing and one thing only, getting a berth on this year 2000 American Olympic team. And so far, she's the fastest at the split, and she's well on her way to doing just that.
Further back along the course, Pam Schuster, second after 20 kilometers. She has almost a minute to make up now on Holden, and that's quite a staggering amount here at this juncture.
That's going to be a lot to make up on someone like Mari Holden, who is in full cry, because now, looking back at Elizabeth Emery in 5th place, Elizabeth had hoped for much better in this Olympic trial. She was 5th at the split. She is going to have an enormous amount to make up, probably out of the contention for the win. Elizabeth is now hoping for a top 3 position.
And John, how much does each racer know about the racer ahead of her?
They'll get the information at the time checks by radio information. Some of them have radio systems attached to themselves, but the best way to find out is what you see now by catching the rider who started 1 minute in front of you. And here is Mari Holden catching Elizabeth Emery. Now look how Mari approaches. Now Mari has got to go to the left. She cannot go into the slipstream of Emery. She would risk disqualification if she did that. And she's getting awfully close. That is best not seen by a judge. A little bit of wind stream there, but Mari blowing by.
And we'll be back with the exciting finish.